Welcome to the B2B Breakthrough Podcast. I'm your host, Ciara Cristo. I think there's something really inspirational about the format of Kickstarter, where you have this ongoing and active conversation with your backers. Can you talk to me a little bit about how that experience and the input from folks from the backers side has helped to establish a strong customer base for you?
Yeah, it's one of the many things in business that I don't think you fully appreciate or realize in retrospect. To me, having done a much smaller Kickstarter for a little multi-tool I had made in 2016, I was generally familiar with how the platform worked and just the overall concept of you can start a business that is capital intensive. You're going to have to manufacture something, both the tooling as well as the inventory for it. And here's a way to get an amount of money to subsidize that experience to get launched and then hopefully sustain the flywheel when you go live post shipping on Amazon, Home Depot, whatever. So I think, that was the driving force of what brought us to Kickstarter in the first place. And then we're, pleasantly surprised of just the community that, having sold many products since then, both on Kickstarter and off of Kickstarter, that Kickstarter backers are some of the most loyal, long lifetime backers of the customer and just have that purpose of being involved in the process. Because we're posting updates every couple of weeks, once a month, people know exactly what's happening, the struggles you're going through with, what's happening with the tooling. And I think it really gave character to something that is normally just kind of notional, big economy doing things that I don't understand, to something that's actually happening, justified, and quantified in a way that otherwise is too abstract to comprehend or really want to deal with. So I think that's been both surprising and impactful of having that community of champions, the ones who are going to bat for us, buying our new products, battling the social media trolls in the comments of questioning who we are, our characters.
You made a really good point. I mean, supply chain shortages really feel like this abstract concept. And so once you actually feel that impact, it really helps to have a greater appreciation for the products in your life and the small business owners behind them. And I think that communication and that open relationship that you have with your backers is really, it's so special. Has there been any feedback that you've received in those campaigns from your audience that has helped propel you forward or think of new directions to take certain products? What has that conversation been like? Is there anything like that in your history?
Yeah, I think both directly and indirectly. That indirectly, a lot of the Kickstarter backers are the ones who, when we do solicit either user feedback, beta testers, they're the first ones to raise their hands and not only notionally do it to say they did it, but actually provide feedback, hop on a call with us for a half hour, type up a 2-page Word document of their experiences with it. So it's been great, impactful to both validate assumptions we've had, as well as make sure we're staying in line with the reality of the customer base and products we're serving. And an example of that is when we launched our digital tape measure on a Kickstarter campaign. We had English blades, which have inches printed on the tape measure itself, and a metric blade, which has metric units on it. And we presented those both to our campaign backers, and they're like, hey, what about a split blade for all of us in the UK, Canada, Australia, Commonwealth territories that use both units? That's the standard here to have split with it. And we had heard of it before. We're like, no one probably wants that. And then we had literally, I think, I don't know, somewhere like 20 or 30% of the people actually wound up wanting that blade with it. So that was something where the community spoke up. We got their feedback on it and wasn't just, us sitting in our offices launching a product and hoping it works out, of getting that closed loop feedback, and was well in advance enough where it wasn't that impactful for us to have to make that as a separate SKU and provide that to customers with it. So I think that was one of the ones I always remember and recall and use as examples when we brief the team on launching a new one, of how impactful that feedback can be and how that can feed directly into the product development process prior to actually launching it and shipping it to customers.
That's such a cool, tangible example. And just knowing that the distribution method is also your built-in research system. So it's a very helpful example for folks considering taking on a Kickstarter campaign to continue to expand their businesses. And it sounds like it's still something that you are involved in. You're still using it as a platform, even 5 years in, and continuing to expand. How is it helping you now that you have an established brand behind your products? How is Kickstarter? How has that changed for you? How has the process changed?
Yeah, it's really cool because I think a lot of people view it as just a place to lunch and then never think about it again. Where for us, it's had a very large impact on a continual basis for creating hype around a lunch, right? It's just a huge way for people love to see that number, climb up the number of backers and feel part of something with it.